What is up, YouTube? Welcome to this Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 7 video. So that was one hell of an episode. That was a very interesting finale, to be honest. So if you're new to the channel, a like and a subscribe is super appreciated, and welcome. So as a whole, the episode was pretty good. It felt a lot like, in the start, like a Telltale Games episode. If you don't know what that is, that's kind of like a choose your own adventure. And I felt like every point where it kind of zooms in on you when you've got to make your decision, that's pretty much what this episode felt like. It's really weird that what they did in this episode, we've had the whole season where it has been fast, very fast paced. And then this episode felt like a normal episode of Game of Thrones, where it was really slow. We had a lot of kind of interaction with characters. We didn't really have the plot zoom through, etc. But it just felt weird. Like they just wanted to zip through right until this moment here at the end when the wall comes crashing down. I have to say, as a whole, the performances in this episode were stunning. We really had some great acting, especially from Alfie Allen and Kit Harington when they had their interactions. We had Lena Headey as well playing Cersei, who is always on point. And I loved her being on the back foot here when that White just jumped out of the case and came straight at her, and you could tell that they knew that they were fucked. So it opened with the Dragon Pit, which was an Sept. We had really a return to, so we had the Great Sept destroyed last season, and we're going to a Great Sept that has been destroyed and was turned into a Dragon Pit, where the Targaryens would keep their dragons, and they would have to keep them there, as Tyrion said that, well, all of the dragons would go around kind of burning people, which is what we had early on when Daenerys was learning to look after her dragons, and they killed that farmer's kid. So it's quite of a callback to that, and just recognizing how dangerous they are. And then later on, they grew to they were inbred, and they were kind of kept in this dragon pit, and they couldn't grow as big as Balerion the Dread, as Tyrion mentioned, that great dragon, which we saw the skull of, that Qyburn mentioned as well, that could, when he was talking about his weapon which could kill them, and the arrow or dart or whatever you want to call it would go through the skull of Balerion there. So it had some great moments. We had Clegane Bowl mentioned. Wow. So we had the Hound meet his zombie brother, and he said that he mentioned that the Mountain knew always what would be coming for him, and that was the Hound. That's what I'm interpreting it there when he spoke to him, and they will finally face off at some point. I was hoping it would be this episode, but it will be possibly a next episode or two. I think, unfortunately, it will be a long time until we might get that, because we've got a year and a half until that comes back. But this moment here in the Dragon Pit was filled with some fantastic moments, some great, really great moments, I think, there. And we saw the interaction between Bronn at the start before they went in there. We saw Brienne as well mentioned with the Hound, and they I love the fact they mentioned Arya as well, and they both recognise how dangerous she actually is. Now, Euron Greyjoy has taken his toys and gone home. He seemed terribly afraid of the White there, and I thought the bit when he was insulting Tyrion was really shit. I think it just felt cheesy. It's not necessarily out of character. It just felt really naff, to be honest, which was a real shame. And he's gone now. He's gone back to the Iron Islands. That makes sense, where they can't swim, but they've got a dragon, so they can take him out. But he doesn't know that. So Theon is now going back. I like the characterization of him here, where he's grown and he fights the Iron Islander there, and he takes him on and wins. I love the fact he kicked him in the balls, and he was like, yeah, no, I haven't got anything down there, so you can't do anything to me, bro. Nothing's going to happen. It's just Sheen. It's like a Ken doll down there. Nothing's going to hurt me. So it was really cool seeing that fight and seeing him win, and he's taken them he's going to somewhat redeem himself to try and save Yara, and I expect that he will come back he would take that navy that's there, that Euron has, somehow, and gift it to Daenerys and Jon Snow. Now, the Littlefinger execution was a bit underwhelming just for the fact that, well, I expected it would happen, but the fact is that it sort of came out of nowhere, and it felt like we were missing a few scenes, to be honest. I get what they were doing, and they did it well with what they had with limited interaction, but it's something which deserved a lot more. And the fact that Bran Stark was the one who told them everything, told them that it was Littlefinger who was behind the assassination attempt, behind killing Jon Arryn as well, the hand which pretty much set off everything that happened. Littlefinger caused all of this, and it feels like a shame that we never had that scene where that was explained. We never saw the flashback, which we would have got if it was a full season of Littlefinger working his way and worming his way into everything that happened, which is, and the reveal to Sansa and Arya that this actually happened. So I think that is, they've done that a bit of a disservice, but he was killed by his own blade as well. And I'd like to know how he actually got hold of that blade, to be honest, but Arya will need that considering that he is Valyrian still in the coming wars. And I have to say the acting by everyone there was great as well, and I love the fact that the Knights of the Vale were like, yeah, no, we're not going to help you out, Littlefinger. You're a dick. And it just goes to show that he only cared about himself in the end, and the only person he ever loved was Catelyn Stark. Or Catelyn Tully, actually, it would be there. Now, next up, we've got Jaime, who has now seemingly abandoned Cersei. I'm not sure what we can take from that, but the snow fell on him, and Cersei is now actually completely done. She's lost everyone. The scene with her and Tyrion was fantastic. I loved that, and the mountain there. I would have thought she would just kill him, but he convinced her that, well, if you want your kid to survive and everything to survive, then you're going to need to sort of help out here with this great war. Now, we had a mirror episode, a mirror kind of a part of a scene, really, with Jaime, where she threatened him with the mountain, but he was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to fall for any of that. I don't believe you're actually going to do any of this whatsoever. None of this is going to happen. You're not going to kill me. And then he proved her right, which I'm expecting him to eventually kill her, because he is technically the little brother in the Valonqar when the prophecy was in the books. I don't believe that it was actually in the show Valonqar was mentioned, but it would kind of make sense there if they kind of maybe elaborate on that at some point through a flashback, perhaps, but I don't think that's really going to happen. As well, she is with child now, and I'm expecting that baby to possibly miscarry and kill her, or her to possibly die in childbirth as well, which would end that prophecy, and then she is completely gone. I expect, in the meantime, we are going to see some backstabbing from her against Daenerys and the rest of the kind of alliance. Really, that's all really you can say for her. And I have to say that she is on the back foot. She's really on her way. I like the fact that she mentioned to Tyrion that, well, when you killed Tywin, you opened us up, and no one would have ever dared attack if he was still alive. And it shows how weak she really is, and that Tywin really was the reason the Lannisters were so big. Now, Daenerys mentioned to Jon Snow that she can't actually have a kid, which is what she interpreted from the witch or the mage or whatever you want to call it that was way back in the show. And I can't help but think that this was a callback to mention that, you know what, or a very on the nose, that she is actually going to have a kid with Jon Snow, and that kid probably will be Azor Ahai, the prince who was promised. But the war's still going on, and then it's a bit iffy if that is, because the timings won't be right for the kid to grow up and then kill everyone, kill the Night King. So I'm not too sure on that, but I think that the prince who was promised is at least one of those. And I found it weird that Tyrion was standing outside when they were banging, and he was just like, looked really upset. So I'm not really sure why he was looking on that. Maybe if you could let me know in the comments what you think the reason for him looking all upset was. Does he love Daenerys? I don't think he does. It's just really strange. Or is he kind of knowing that they're related Does he know more than he's letting on? And does he know he's really... Maybe Tyrion is a Targaryen, he's got that Targaryen sense that he knows something's not right there between those two. But seeing them finally get it on, have their boat sex, I'm sure a lot of people are happy that that's finally happened. Albeit they are actually related, and we saw the flashback to the marriage as well. And it's interesting there, to be honest, that all went down the way it did. Now it does make sense that we see those two finally get it on, but I have to say the kid will be interesting. And that is the biggest part of this, if she births or actually has a child. And will that child be the one who will actually sit on the Iron Throne at the end? However, all the incest thing, we know that, well, Joffrey was the child of incest and he was an absolute dick. So hopefully that doesn't happen here for those two. But the flashback scene was so good. Finally learning the name Aegon Targaryen, who was the namesake of himself. Aegon was the one who was the first Targaryen to come to Westeros and conquer it, which is a very apt name for this child, who is going to be the one who would conquer the dead as well. And it was a nice moment there. Wolf Scolding playing the old Rhaegar Targaryen. I called it, I think a lot of people kind of expected this actor to play the role. Hopefully we'll see some more flashbacks. And one thing I found weird about this was the fact that Samwell had to remind poor old Bran that, you know, there was more to this. And he was listening to Jilly in the end. Maybe he read the book. Maybe she reminded him at another point and was like, you know what, this is really important. I think you should read this. And he reads the whole thing. And you would think that Bran, if he knows everything, he would have seen that. He would have known that wedding took place. If he knows about the Tower of Joy, maybe he would have looked back and seen Lyanna and that they were really married. And the whole rebellion is a lie. And maybe Robert Baratheon has lied about it as well, which I've got a video on there actually. Funny enough, my video I did yesterday was all about that. So you can check that out on my channel. And I think these ramifications will happen. And they will tell Jon Snow at some point. But it's going to be super awkward when they finally do tell him. And he's like, oh, bang my auntie. Shit. Now finally, I say finally, the wall has fallen in an epic moment. Now, I was watching this on the Sky On Demand app on my PlayStation 4, so I was watching that, and it didn't really look that good for me, because of the fact that it was so compressed. I'm hoping to see this at some point. I'll probably pick up the Blu-rays so I can watch it in its full HD glory. And that was the problem with this episode. A lot of that, kind of the compression rate of the stream was a real not that good for me on the app, which was a shame. But it was an epic thing, to say the least. And that was it. The wall hath fallen because the dead couldn't walk through it. Not sure if Tormund has survived. Hopefully, I really do hope we pick up there right at the end when we come back to season 8 in a year and a half's time. I hope that we actually come back to see that. I hope that's literally where it picks up. Because Tormund, well, I really do hope Tormund survives, because I want those giant babies with Brienne. And now they're on their way down, which they're walking really slow, because Gendry walked really damn fast, didn't he? He literally ran. So the whole movement of time and speed of walking is a real bugbear with me, to be honest, how that goes down. However, that is it. This is me signing off for this season. However, we will continue the Game of Thrones content in this year and a half. I'm planning to watch an episode a week leading up until the next season. But we've got the book as well, The Winds of Winter, which should hopefully come out next year. Hopefully come out. But that is it. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe. And I'll see you soon. And goodbye.